So welcome everyone. Thank you ever so much for signing up. It's really nice to be able to talk to you this afternoon. As Heather said, my name is Dr. Jonathan Willis, and I am Head of Taught Postgraduate Studies for the School of History and Cultures here at Birmingham, which means I have kind of overall oversight of all the programmes in history that we offer. And I'm also a former MA convener, so I know what our programmes, how our programmes work, kind of from the inside, and I'm a Reformation historian as well, so I work mainly on sort of religious and cultural history of 16th century England. But I'm talking to you about our MA programmes in history, and I want to begin just by talking a little bit about the Department of History itself. So if you come to join us for postgraduate study, what sort of community are you going to be part of? History department at Birmingham is a large department, one of the largest most exciting history departments in the country. I mean, I'm biased when I say that, of course, but I think it's true. Amongst this kind of large number of staff, we have research and teaching, which encompasses huge geographical, chronological, thematic, and methodological breadth and depth. So what do I mean by that? We have colleagues who work on most corners of the globe, from sort of local West Midlands history through English and British history, through continental Europe, further afield to places like China, Southeast Asia, the United States, Latin America, and Africa. So across our department, we have a huge range. We cover most of the globe. Chronologically, we have historians working on the sort of post-classical world, all the way through to very modern, very contemporary history. We have specialisms in a huge number of different themes, from warfare and economy through religion and race and social status and class identities, through sort of environmental history and politics. So there's a huge amount of kind of stuff there. And methodologically, I think a lot of us work in quite sort of innovative and interdisciplinary ways. So we have historians who specialise, for example, in the study of material culture. And material culture is a form of evidence in historical inquiry. I've done quite a lot of work with music, interdisciplinary work with music in the past. So I think we are a genuinely kind of diverse, interesting and exciting department for you to join and become part of our community. A few kind of statistics for you. So in the last teaching excellence framework exercise, our teaching was rated gold. This was an exercise which looked primarily at undergraduate teaching, but I hope it still gives you a bit of a sense that, you know, teaching is something that we take really seriously and pride ourselves in doing pretty well. We were also rated the #1 UK history department for research in the last research excellence framework, another one of these sort of government surveys of how universities are doing. So people in our department are producing really cutting edge kind of interesting research in their different fields. And what we offer, and obviously what I'm going to focus on today, is a range of different specialist programs at master's level to enable you to find out more about the subjects and themes that you are passionate about. One of the things that we don't offer at the moment, other than by distance learning, is a general MA in history. And what we ask you to do if you come to study with us at the moment is to really kind of start to specialise in. So the step from undergraduate to postgraduate study is very much about you becoming a real kind of expert in your chosen field or area. And finally, we part of the reality of this sort of diverse community of scholars all researching and teaching interesting things is that we have this really sort of vibrant research culture for you to explore and become part of. And I think another step in moving from undergraduate study to postgraduate study is that, you know, you're doing this now because it's something you're really interested in, and so you might want to come along to research talks, to take part in conferences, to start to sort of present maybe on the things that you're interested in, and start to form yeah, to move just from kind of learning about history to being sort of part of that research culture. So let me talk now about the programs we offer and the staff who currently convene them. And I've put the list of staff there. You can see just at a glance, there are so many different programs that I won't have time to talk through the nuts and bolts of every single one. One of the key messages in this sort of presentation is for you to come and talk to us. If you have any questions about our programs, modules, about the application process, your personal statement, any of that kind of thing, come and talk to the relevant program convener and discuss it with them. So first of all, our kind of standard kind of Monday to Friday campus-based MA programs. We have MAs in medieval studies, in early modern history, in the history of warfare, in global history, in contemporary history, and then in modern British studies. And each one of these programs represents a particular cluster, I guess, of expertise and excellence within our department. We have an MA in West Midlands history, which operates in person, but according to a slightly different rhythm, according to a series of kind of Saturday day schools, basically. So every couple of months you'll come in for a whole day of sessions, and that program is the only one we offer delivered in that way, and can only be taken part-time. And then we have 2 distance learning programs, which again are offered part-time over 2 years, and are delivered entirely virtually. The MA in history and the MA in military history. So you can see a whole range of different programs delivered in different ways to try and suit different interests, different tastes, different preferences. And within that DLMA in history, you can focus on different sort of pathways. So you can focus on global history, on medieval history, on modern British history, and so on and so forth. So let me talk a little bit about what you can expect from one of these MA programs. And the caveat here is that the program structures do vary a bit. So do email the conveners for details, but I can give you a kind of a typical experience, and this covers certainly most of the sort of weekday 9 to 5 campus programs. Most of those are set out in something like this kind of way. So you'll expect to do 2 subject-specific core modules. So let me use the example of the MA in Early Modern History because it's the one that I know the best. The core modules for that are Introduction to Early Modern History and Writing Early Modern History, and those core modules are usually about equipping you with the real kind of fundamental knowledge and skills to become an expert in this particular field. Then most of our MA students do a module called Historical Methods, which is about sort of giving you an intellectual toolkit in terms of approaches to critical theory, I guess, in a range of key areas. So we look at, how historians have approached things like religion, like race, like class, like gender, like power, like the body, like disability. And we think about the sort of the frameworks and the approaches that historians have used to try and unpick these kind of significant categories of human experience. Then most of our programs have some sort of research preparation module, and what that is supposed to do is to sort of help you develop your dissertation ideas, basically. So we try and get you thinking pretty early about your dissertation, at least by the end of the first semester, the start of the second semester. And research preparation takes different forms, but usually involves at least a significant element of that sort of one-to-one meetings between you and a supervisor to help you explore the key secondary literature in a field, to help you explore primary sources, and to help you develop a sort of fully fleshed out dissertation proposal. Then there's space in all of our programs for optional modules, and optional modules can range from other master's level modules in history, other modules within the school. So you might want to do, for example, something in African studies or heritage or classics. and also other optional modules across the college. So we try and open up things in art history or in English literature, for example. So you can sort of spend those credits, if you like, those sort of optional modules as you will. That's where you might choose to work on a language, for example, as well. And then finally, 1/3 of the dissertation of the degree, sorry, is sort of given over to the dissertation. So a 15,000 word dissertation in pretty much any subject where there are the sources and the kind of literature to support historical inquiry. And that's your independent research supported again through one-to-one supervision by a member of staff. And is, I guess, the sort of crowning point of the master's programme, really. It's an opportunity for you to stop sort of studying history and actually do history and produce a piece of original research on a topic. So an MA is 12 months by default, full-time. It's a 1-year, 12-month programme, 24 months part-time. Teaching for most of the programmes we offer is over the autumn and spring semesters, with the summer sort of put aside for researching and writing the dissertation. The distance learning and West Midlands history programmes operate according to a slightly different model, where you'll be studying sort of modules across 3 chunks of the year, basically sort of autumn, spring and summer. But again, that's something that we could always pick up in questions, or you could talk to module conveners about if you wanted to know a little bit more about that. So aside from the actual programmes, I wanted to talk a little bit about support for your studies. So if you come to Birmingham, what other support, beyond the department, what other support can you expect to find? So we have within the school, within the department, a team of local welfare tutors who are there to offer support, whether it's about physical health or mental health or financial issues, if you need to take time away from studies, or if you need extensions or extra support with studies, they are there. Their job is to help you with those kinds of things, which is a really important resource, I think. We also have, again, within the school, a dedicated student experience officer. This is someone who is kind of dedicated to finding ways to continually sort of enhance the student experience in all sorts of different ways. So this person sort of runs the sort of student staff sort of forum committees we have to get feedback on how things are going. They are involved in sort of running social events, things like sort of quizzes and film nights. They also they work sort of liaise with some of the other things I'm going to talk about, like the careers service, or to put on kind of events for students in our school. So they're there to kind of I guess provide an additional kind of stream of stuff for you to engage in. We also have this within the college more broadly, an arts and law academic writing advisory service, which is brilliant. They have a huge bank of resources to help you, including specific resources designed for students in history and allied disciplines, to adjust to academic writing at master's level. So, when you come and you start writing your first master's level essay, what sort of things do you need to bear in mind in terms of that transition from undergraduate to master's level? They also offer sort of general resources, group workshops, and then also one-to-one tutorials if you want to look at a specific essay and think about how to kind of how to tweak your writing style to get the best marks possible from your assessments. Then we have this dedicated Arts and Law Careers Network, who also runs specific events for postgraduate students as well, thinking both about careers in academia, but also about other careers where you can use the skills that you build through a history master's and use that to sort of to support your career plans, whichever kind of direction they head in. And then we can also draw upon, or you can also draw upon, particularly international students, the Birmingham International Academy, and they're also there to provide support with things like developing language skills and sort of adjusting to study here in the UK. And then there are a range of student-led initiatives as well, including specialist groups and societies. So we have an example, the example I know best, the MREM, which I think stands for Early Medieval, Early Modern, Renaissance and Reformation Forum. So it's a kind of a student kind of forum for people engaged in study in this particular area. So there are lots of examples of that kind of thing. And also the Guild, Birmingham's Student Union, has a postgraduate society as well, which speaks to the needs of postgraduate students, because they're very often different from the needs of undergraduate students. What does the broader university have to offer you? A thriving community to support your interests, whatever they are: academic, sporting, musical, cultural, other interests. There's a huge amount going on. I think we have something like 35,000 students in the university, so you can imagine the kind of energy and activity that generates. World-class library and study facilities. Our new-ish library, I guess I should call it now, because it's been open for maybe 4 or 5 years. It's probably one of the best academic non-copyright libraries in the UK. And increasingly, we have excellent online access to key primary and secondary sources, which is obviously, of paramount importance at the moment. A fantastic campus, which hopefully you'll get a chance to visit at some point, including a beautifully kind of re-landscaped Green Heart, cultural institutions like the Barber Institute of Fine Arts, which has an amazing art collection, the Lapworth Museum of Geology, Winterbourne Botanic Gardens, which are a lovely place to sort of wander around and get away from it all. So there's a brilliant campus there for you to explore. And of course, we have our own train station. We're minutes away from England's second city, Birmingham, which is home to a vibrant cultural sector, museums, archives, and fantastic transport connections to the rest of the UK and further abroad. I wanted to briefly mention, the context we're operating in at the moment, which is COVID-19, of course. And as a disclaimer, it's impossible to know now exactly where we will be next academic year. I mean, we're obviously getting really good news at the moment regarding vaccines and things like that, but it's without a crystal ball, it's impossible to say exactly what things will look like in September. I think it's maybe worth just saying that all of our programs are designed over the summer. They were sort of redesigned to be resilient. So there are sort of academic deputies ready to step in if any member of staff were to fall ill, especially for a sustained period of time, so they can just sort of keep running regardless. And all of our programs, again, are set up for bimodal delivery. So they can be taught face-to-face where possible, and move online where necessary without any disruption to your studies. So we're as resilient as we can be in terms of adapting to whatever the world has to throw at us over the next year or so. And of course, as part of our preparations, we've made sure that most of the day-to-day materials that you need to access in terms of your seminar reading and your essays and all that kind of thing are available online, as well as providing or signposting other stuff that's there in the library as well. So I think that's probably all I'm going to say for now. The message to kind of leave you with is, for more detailed information on specific programs, please do just look up the convener on our staff directory and drop them an email to say, hi, I'm interested in taking your program. Can you tell me a bit more about it? Can you help me with my application, etc. We'd be really, really delighted to hear from you. And I'm really happy to answer any questions you might have after our student presentation from Agni, who's a former medieval studies master's student and a current PhD student here with us in the department. So let me stop sharing my screen and I will mute myself and hand over to Agni. Oh, sorry, Agni, I think you're still muted.
Yes, can you hear me now? Yeah, so thank you, Dr. Willis, for your presentation, and hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for staying tuned with us. So I am now going to talk to you about student experience as an MA student in history at Birmingham. So hopefully you can see my PowerPoint. So my name is Agni. I am a first-year PhD student in the Department of History. I did my MA last year in Medieval Studies, Medieval History, and I was extremely pleased, so pleased that I chose to remain here for my PhD. So as Dr. Willis has briefed out already, the university offers a most exciting variety of courses and of course modules once you get to see what each module has to offer. What really stands out, or at least stood out to me as a student, was that all the lecturers and academic staff were extremely supportive and inspiring. So you are going to get personal support along with professional and academic support. So you will be taken care of and very well. The research environment provided by the university is very friendly. There's like numerous events taking place as like seminars or presentations or conferences taking place every year or every semester, where you can either interact with, meet, watch, and even present your own research in a very friendly and encouraging environment. We have some fantastic libraries. There's the main library at the university on campus, but for us historians, there's also the Barber Fine Arts Library at the Barber Museum, which is close to campus. There's the Cadbury Research Library, which hosts several old books and manuscripts, which are particularly fascinating, especially for people who study older periods in history. And there's also the Rodney Hilton Library in Birmingham. As Dr. Willis has also mentioned, there's great welfare services, which are especially important during this pandemic we're going through and in these very uncertain times. Excellent rankings, of course, guarantee that you will get top quality education, and it really raises your employability. And as for no matter what course you will choose, you can't pick modules from other courses or other departments. For example, I was doing medieval studies, medieval history, but like for a semester, two of my modules were from archaeology. So there's really freedom in shaping your schedule and interacting with scholars from any department of the college. And of course, one of the best things about studying in Birmingham is that you don't need to be confined in Birmingham. You have access to universities, libraries, academics, and potential supervisors outside Birmingham. You can use your university credentials to access publications, even really new ones, online for free, which is extremely useful when you're on lockdown. It really saved my life so far. And Birmingham belongs in a great scheme of a network of Midlands universities, which allows for a diverse choices in funding. There's also the postgraduate scholarship and funding database, which you can access through the university website, and which you can filter through your funding options. And if all that doesn't convince you, then for my fellow Lord of the Rings fans, the clock tower at the university campus, Old Joe, is what inspired Tolkien to create the Tower of Isengard. So that's also a plus. Of course, university is not only about studying. The university offers over 250 group societies and clubs which you can join, including all kinds of art, literature, hobbies, sports, music, dancing, or there's even discussion groups or forums where you can just share your thoughts on various subjects or share your hobbies with other people. You can, through WorkLink, find job and employment opportunities on campus. It's part-time because they wouldn't want you to spend too much time working and lose focus from your studies. The university choir is just fantastic. The university also promotes volunteering and social contribution on many levels, which you could turn to the Guild of Students, to which you become automatically a member by registering. The sports facilities are very big and really good. We have a gym, several courts and stadia for all kinds of sports, and the university belongs in the BUCS League. And the university is also located within walking distance of Selly Oak, which is basically a university student living district, which is full of entertainment venues and like really convenient shops and supermarkets. So your life near campus is very practical and also quite fun. And of course, it's a pretty short train ride to the city center, which offers a vibrant selection of museums, exhibitions, art galleries. There's concerts every now and then. Of course, I have no idea what's the current COVID situation with this kind of events, but normally cultural life in Birmingham is rather exciting. You can go shopping or massive dining on the Bullring and Digbeth. And one of the most important things for me as a foreigner is that Birmingham is such a big and diverse but also friendly city that you can always feel like home, and it's rather welcoming and inclusive. So you don't need to worry about not being a native. And we're really hoping to see you again very soon. Thank you very much.